The People versus O.J.
Oh yeah, just
On February 25, 1992, O.J. Simpson and his wife Nicole Brown Simpson got a divorce. The murder occurred outside of Nicole Brown Simpson's house in Brentwood, California.
Nicole Brown Simpson was a victim, along with Ronald Goldman. O.J. Simpson was the main suspect of this crime. He was a famous football player, and he also threatened to kill his wife before. This is Detective Mark Furman, one of the first to arrive at the scene. Detective Mark Furman worked for an agency called the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD. LAPD criminologist Dennis Fung admitted to having missed a few drops of blood on a fence near the bodies. An important bloody fingerprint located on the gateway at Nicole Brown's house was not properly collected and entered into a chain of custody where it was first located. The detectives who took over Furman's shift apparently were never aware of the print, and eventually it was lost or destroyed without ever being collected. Other items of evidence were also never logged or entered into the chain of custody, which gave the impression that sloppy forensics collection had been carried out the scene. Many items were photographed without being labeled or logged, making it difficult, if not impossible, to link the photos to any specific area in the crime scene. It's safe to say that the investigators did a horrible job with this evidence and how they handled it.
This is a drawn-out picture of the crime scene. As you can see, this is Ron and Nicole's bodies. There was blood everywhere. The bodies were obviously brutally stabbed and harmed. The prints were left on the gate, although they were not taken and analyzed correctly. Since the crime was taken during night, people could misperceive what they saw due to the fact it was dark outside, as well as someone driving by probably could not assume that a murder was being held. It could be easily assumed that O.J. did it due to the fact he had a matching glove like the one at the scene of the crime, and his blood type matched the one that was placed at the scene of the crime. Jumping to conclusions can cause false accusation and put someone away innocent for committing a crime that they did not do. Our brains can impact our observations of the crime scene because it can be more focused on what actually happened and not necessarily the details or the evidence to be more focused on.
In forensic science, Locard's exchange principle holds that the perpetrator of a crime will bring something into a crime scene and leave with something from it, and that both can be used for forensic evidence. For example, fibers can be transferred from one person to another. Another example is soil samples can be carried from the yard into your home. An example of direct evidence is Denise Brown had recalled an incident where she witnessed O.J. Simpson becoming angry at his ex-wife Nicole, throwing her on the ground outside of their home. Another example of direct evidence is confessions. Another direct evidence would be videos. This is the Ford Bronco that was being chased by the police. Circumstantial evidence that was used in this case were the gloves found at the house. Another example of circumstantial evidence were fingerprints that were found at the crime scene. Another example of circumstantial evidence was the blood found on the Ford Bronco. This is a picture of O.J.'s blood found in the Ford Bronco. Another example of circumstantial evidence were the bloody footprints by the murder scene. Another example of circumstantial evidence was Simpson's hair that was found on Goldman's shirt. Mark Furman was the first responder to the crime. Marcia Clark was one of the professionals who worked on the crime scene, along with Robert Kardashian, along with Brian Kalin. There were lots of blood evidence going on during this case. The killer dropped blood near shoe prints at the Bundy. The blood dropped at the Bundy was the same as Simpson's blood. Simpson had fresh cuts on the left of his hand the day after the murder. There was blood found in the Bronco. Simpson's hair was found on a cap in the Bundy residence and on Ron Goldman. Cotton fibers consistent with the carpet in the Bronco was found on a glove at Rockingham. A left glove found at the Bundy, and the right glove was found at the Simpsons' residence. They are both extra large size. Nicole Simpson bought a pair of these gloves in 1990. Shoe prints found at the Bundy were a size 12. Another piece of evidence was the bloody shoe print that was a size 12. The evidence was collected out of the house, and the prints were walking away from the crime scene. Leon Lattis was a forensic science pioneer. Leon Lattis applies blood testing and stains on fabrics and clothing. He studies dried blood stains. This discovery goes with the O.J. Simpson case because bloody prints were found and they used blood testing to see whose blood it was.
On October 3, 1995, the jury revealed that O.J. was innocent for the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. The case was resolved because the glove found at the crime did not fit his hand. The jurors believed, if it didn't fit, you must acquit, and believed things did not add up. Jurors also believed that if he committed such a bloody crime, there would have been more blood in the Bronco car. The trial was considered to be chaos because the judge allowed cameras into the courtroom. The turning point was when O.J. tried on the glove left at the scene of the crime, and it didn't fit, which made him innocent. The verdict was O.J. was innocent on all criminal charges of Ronald Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson. After the court case, O.J. released a book called If I Did It, making him look a little guilty. On Sunday, October 1st, 2017, O.J. was finally dismissed from federal prison after serving 9 years for robbery and kidnapping. This case has many different perspectives and is still talked about today through documentaries and even a TV show.